Good Sunday evening to you. Good Sunday evening to you. I'm Chris, checking in live from the house. I have not done videos for either Wiley Report or Encouraging Your Spirit in some time. No negative reasons, just been busy with travel and writing a dissertation proposal. And but I'm really working on um getting better at that. Also, if you follow Substack, you can see some videos and some of my thoughts on the Wiley Report that's on Substack. Um, so you can see that, and Encouraging Your Spirit still exists. And I will be doing some more podcast episodes soon. So I came on here today because I Facebook has the feature of memories. So basically, anything that you posted, be it your thoughts, clips, and images come up, which is sometimes extremely helpful, and sometimes, depending on what the image is, it can, I'm not saying it's not helpful, but it can bring up a wide array of emotions. So this was something that came up on mine, and I thought it was good for the Wilder Report because I talk about my experiences as a doctoral student. I talk about my experiences as a librarian. And I thought of it too in terms of posting it on Encouraging Your Spirit because it can be encouraging, no matter whether or not if you're continuing your education or going after your dreams, whatever they may be. I thought this was good to to share. So this was a note because Facebook has a feature. I don't know if it's still available. I've not tried it. But it has it had the feature that you could write notes. And so I had written a note, and this was 15 years ago, so that would have been 2009. So I'm gonna read it to you, and then I'm gonna give you my current day reflections. Since today my boss took me to lunch for my birthday. I know it was weeks ago, but she'd been out of town. I went with her and another coworker of mine. My boss knew that I'd applied to some doctoral programs for fall 2009. Casually, she mentioned that the intern who was working when I started got accepted to a doctoral program. The intern and I did not have the best working relationship, but I bore no ill will toward him. He graduated shortly after I started working at the library, but I did feel a pang of disappointment. It was my initial plan to be in some school's doctoral program for this fall, but then I realized I should be happy for him instead of thinking of myself. I did my absolute best in applying. Uh, this fall. What he had in his application packet versus mine is pretty moot. Yet it consciously amazed me at how much of my afternoon was spent thinking about it. Life goes on, and the only thing for me to do is to keep applying until I get accepted. Instead of looking at what I didn't get, I look to what I gained more knowledge and time to get things in order, a chance to create a more detailed action plan, and more time to enjoy my own life. Often I spend so much time running around doing things, I never get a chance to enjoy life. Everything is often on some grand schedule that absolutely has to be done. And it often makes me feel if I don't do it right then it will never happen or I'm behind. In truth, none of this line of thinking is really relevant or helpful to my own personal growth. This summer, I got to go on some wonderful trips, do some wonderful things, spend time with the people who matter most. All in all, I think the gospel track on my Pandora radio says it best. The best is yet to come. And like I said, I wrote that in 2009, 15 years ago. And until that Facebook memory came up, I didn't even remember that I had written that at all. I didn't remember it. And so it was refreshing. It was encouraging. It was empowering to see that today. Well, not today, but you see that yesterday. And I, shared it on Facebook. And here's why I shared it because I remember that time, 2009. I was working in my I won't say it was my first librarian. Well, it was my first professional librarian position. I finished graduate school in 2007, And during my time, I worked as a graduate assistant, working with special collection files, creating and coded archival descriptors. Um, and then when I graduated, the first librarian position I worked at was in Key Biscayne at an Atlantic Oceanographic Meteorological Lab. And in 2009, and it wasn't that when I think about that, like I said, I had started that position the 1st of March, and it wasn't that I didn't like the position at all. I think I just really had always thought that and wanted to go back to school, and so I thought I'd go ahead and throw my hat in the ring and apply. And it's interesting to think about that now, but think about that 15, years ago, and just, that idea about hindsight being 2020. And I think the reason hindsight 2020 is 2020 is because you have more experience, more you know more of the picture than you knew at the time. I mean, I had moved to Miami in 2008. And even when I was applying, I wasn't necessarily thinking you'll pack up your things and move somewhere again. I wasn't even thinking that far. I was just thinking I want to, continue my education, and I'm just go ahead and try to apply for this position. But I mean, not position, but apply for these graduate programs in information science. And in 2009, every one of them, like I read the note, every one of them rejected me. And I had been sad about it and somewhat disappointed. And the coworker, we did not have the best relationship at all. And I was happy for him. That came from a genuine place. And when I think about that now, I ask myself, was I envious or jealous? No, because I'm always happy for people. I just also wish that I get the things that I want to. Not that another individual doesn't get what they want or get the desires, or me and not you, that type of mantra or that perspective is I want the dreams that I want to. And I had been disappointed that it had not happened for me. When I look back at that experience, also, only one of the institutions would talk with me about what I could do to improve my application. And at the time, when they spoke with me, I had one good recommendation letter that was from my current boss, and the other two, I'm not saying they weren't good letters, but they did not expound. They did not state anything at all that highlighted any strengths that they foresaw or thought. So, coupled with the fact that at that time I had best had one research class, but had no research experiences or expertise at the time. And I remember telling my father about it, and he was like, "Yeah, that's true." He said, "Also true that sometimes institutions can let can I won't say let people in, but sometimes people say that and it's just varied as far as because you will never." And he said, "I'm not saying that they were being disingenuous or that they were not telling you the truth. I'm just saying you never know what's in people's packets. You just don't. You don't know what they have or what they don't have. And you're not supposed to, but you really don't know, about other people's expertise and experiences. And that's not lesser or greater, more, that's just you really don't know." And I remember that time, and I just had decided that, what, I would focus on enjoying my life. I was in a brand new city. I had never, brand new in the sense that I had never lived in Miami before. I couldn't tell you everything that Miami had to offer. And so I really just spent the time focusing on becoming good at my job and living in Miami. And it provided a really great set of experiences, a great set of people to know. And I was there for 5 years. And then I left in 2013. I left because I was a contractor, and they were not sure if when they were switching things over to a line office, if contractors would be allowed or be a part of that system at all. And my boss at the time had talked to me and was like, I don't think this is you're not getting ready to retire. So, I would love to have you stay or, continue. But it was more like a conversation of thinking about your future. She wasn't telling me what to do or what she foresaw. It was just more like advice and insight. And I always appreciated that about my former boss is she really provided really great information. And one of the books that she got me were always books about writing research. So even though I wasn't doing it in that role, it was, the books that she gave me, or the fact that, in this lab, scientists, they conducted research. Um, that's what they did. Atmospheric science, water, rainfall, environmental sensors, coral reefs, aquaculture. These are the things that they study all around you. And like I said, I was the web services librarian, also provided reference and instruction for 5 years, and their library loan services. And it was a fantastic place to work. Very laid back, think jams, Hawaiian shirts, Crocs, very relaxed. The only person that really dressed up was the director, and at the time he wore a dress shirt and a suit jacket and pants, but it was very more like business casual. It wasn't business casual. It was business, but he didn't wear a tie. But he was a very nice person. And so I just share that story because it was amazing to think that that was 15 years ago, and also because it's today is August the 18th, and I am a fifth year information science doctoral student, uh, currently working on my dissertation proposal. My field is race, digital studies, and intersectionality. And when you think about life and transition and journey, as far as like how in 2009 I wasn't in anybody's program and I was disappointed, and how things turned around, because even when I left and left that position and moved to my current position as engineering physical sciences research data services librarian, I was not thinking, uh, what school will I go to next? I got in the role that I'm in, and research was a part of the position. And because it was tenure track, and I focused on the research agenda. And it was while focusing on that research agenda, I learned to love, not learn, because I'm saying I learned to love it, and that's true, I did learn. The learn aspect was I did learn how to do research because I did not know how. And I loved it because it was constant exploration. It was fantastic spaces and places to present your ideas, to collaborate with others. When I and as I think about it, it's like I have, with the career as a librarian, I have gotten to go all over the United States and internationally, traveling to Beijing, traveling to London, traveling to Italy, and I have enjoyed in Toronto, in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. I have enjoyed building a life I never could have imagined or dreamed that would even be possible 15 years ago. I did not. I'm not saying I wasn't thinking it. I'm not saying I was thinking negative things. I'm just saying I could not have imagined the life that I have gotten to live and work and see things and meet amazing people and work with amazing people and have fantastic experiences and love it. And being in the doctoral program, it's opened my eyes of so many different opportunities and different experiences to continue doing research and meeting wonderful people. And I'm grateful for all of those experiences. And I just thought about that in terms of, I saw this note, of where I was down, but I decided, you know what, I'm gonna make the best of it and continue on in this role that I'm in. And perhaps in the back of my mind, I was like, I'll continue my education, at a later time, because I said I was gonna keep applying. But I stopped for a while, and I did not even think or dream about applying until I had finished all of the things that I was currently, just doing in my role. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna try it again. And I only applied to one school, and that was the school that I got in. So I am grateful, 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 grateful. The reason that I shared that is because I think it's important to think about your life and the journey that you're in. And I also, because one of the writing prompts in a writing group that I participated in a couple of weeks ago was talking about failure. Like, can you remember a time that you failed? And I didn't even write about this experience, and this was one that I could have clearly written about. But I wrote about something else, but it was a failure that was failure with a twist. But the truth is, Everybody experiences knows rejection from our dreams, from the goals that we have, from so many different areas. Just like people have failed in so many things, but it doesn't mean me, you, us are failures. It just means it's not working out right now. And that there is an opportunity, there is a way to continue our pursuits. I don't know necessarily how that'll look for everybody, or what that will mean. But I have learned in my own life that no does not always mean finality and never is never going to happen. It it just means not happening yet, or in some cases, it's happening, but not in the context and the manner in which that you think. Because sometimes me, you, us, we can be so confined that it is only this. And I don't know what I'm making with this symbol, but that's what comes to mind. They can only be this way. It can only happen in this manner. And that's a bit limiting. That is limiting because God is so much bigger than that. And opportunities, life is so much bigger than what it is that, the way in which we see it. Because the way we see me, you, sometimes it can be extremely finite and black and white. And, life in itself and our experiences are multifaceted, layered, and complex. And hey, what are you gonna do with that? How are you gonna keep going, moving forward in those times when you get a no, when you get a not yet, when you get a I didn't get that, opportunity, because that happens. Even when you've done your best and submitted your application or submitted whatever, sometimes, that still happens. I've heard people say the same type of story and they were applying for a house and then they got the house, but they just didn't get the house that they thought they were going to get, or they did, or they talk about this relationally. What were the biggest lessons that they learned in their friendships, in their romantic relationships? What were the lessons that they learned as they pursued their dreams, as they pursued their goals? Uh, what think about it, and think about what is it that you will obtain as you move forward in life, and how sometimes things really turn around. And the timetable on that, because 15 years and so much of my life, so much of me, I am not the same version of myself in 2009 that I am in 2024. And you're not necessarily supposed to be. And I also can't go back to that version of myself. There also the fact that I was thinking about that, how there are people that were really important and meaningful and impactful to me, that they're no longer here. They're gone. They passed away. It hurts, but it's the reality. It's not at all how I thought it would be. I thought they would be here. I thought they're not necessarily just be here with me. Uh, or be here in the sense of an interaction with me. I just thought that they were going to get to live a long time. And in some cases, that's not just the way life worked out. That's just not the way life is. So I was just sharing that with you. I'm not trying to end on a down note because I was like, oh, I don't have anything to pick it back up. But I was just thinking about that because all of those things, all of those experiences, all of those memories, all of those associations and connections are with that, whether no matter what your dream is, because I am completely cognizant and aware that everybody's dream is not continuing their education. And hey, I'm cool with that, friend. Go after the life, go after the dreams, go after the goals that you have with all your might. Don't let a no, don't let anything stop you. Just keep going. Just keep going after it. Keep pursuing it. That's all I got. I thank you so much for taking time out of your day and your evening to listen to me talk about uh, rethinking disappointment, because that's what I had titled it, Rethinking Disappointment. And I hope that something has been said or mentioned in this conversation that encourages you, that empowers you, that emboldens you to pursue your goals, to pursue your dreams, to be the absolute best version of yourself that you can be. All right. Thank you for listening. Peace. Have a good night.